Crypto casual. This one's going to be kind of different because Cage and I we're on a call talking about NFTs, talking about projects, and I brought up this quote that I hear, but like it's a new space, it's a new industry, so I don't know if it's accurate or not. Time in market is better than timing the market. Bro, for you, what are you doing there? You're punching your computer?
Punching himself.
So time in market
Are
is
you
better than
with
time in the
us?
market. And here's my thing.
He doesn't agree.
He'll jump in when he'll jump in when he's ready. And here's the thing, guys. When Cage and I invest in NFT projects, we get this question so many times. You know, what do you guys look for in NFT projects? You know, what's important to you guys? You know, what separates NFT projects? We wanted to do an episode today just about our experience in NFTs, not crypto, none of that stuff. Maybe we'll branch out later, but just what do we look for and how do we invest? And Cage and I, we're guys that we like put all of our chips into one project. I don't know why that is. That Cage, you could share
Okay,
why you think that
so
is.
here's my time in the market versus timing the market, right? So you
Please.
say time in the market because you're using old head stock type of analysis on it. So I'll just ask you one question. Taking Bored Apes and CryptoPunks out of the equation because those two are what I consider anomalies. They are obviously ones that people who are listening to this are probably not going to get into, and if they can get into it, they're not listening to us and watching Shadowy disappear every 5 seconds. All right, that's not our target audience. If you happen to be somebody,
he's our tech guy, by the way. So we're in good hands.
So take those two off the table. Now I want you to name for me because time in the market means that if you get in, it doesn't matter when you get in. If you get in and you hold, you're doing better. That's your point, time in the market. So tell me, besides those two, name for me an NFT project that is more than 2 months old that is currently at its all-time high.
What I mean is, Cage, like, I've held Chain
there's
Run.
a reason why
I've
you
held
can't.
Well, I mean, World of Women's a good project.
World of Women had a floor of 4 in its first month. Even with the sweep of $2 million yesterday, the floor is half of that.
It's interesting. So I've been feeling a bit of FOMO this last week because of a project my friend put me onto. It's called the Crypto Bull Society, and I actually did really well in the project. You know, I traded it up, I traded it down. I made 0.5 ETH per bull twice, but then it ran. And I'm sitting here thinking, why do I go all in on crypto bulls or all in on web, that land property that's also now running, or Flower Girls, which is a new one, versus holding a bit of all three or a bit of 10.
Why hold? Be in them, but why hold? Which project that you have held, or which project that you've been in that you want to hold? Don't give me crypto bulls because it's a week-old project. Give me something that you've been in that it was the right move to hold it long term. Because even some of the higher end ones, Cool Cats, VeeFriends, these things had floors of 20. And if you don't have to be a genius to time the news. If you sold the VeeFriends the day he had his Christie's auction with that news and that pump, the floor was nearly 20. The floor was double what it's at right now. Right? Even Bored Apes, the floor was higher than it is now when they announced, right when they were giving out the mutant serum and whatnot for the mutant apes. There was a huge run up on that. You wouldn't have to be a genius to quote unquote time the market. And these are the ones that are like the blue chips of blue chips. If you dumb it down to ones like, and maybe it's because you're just looking at, hey, I was in this, and if I would have timed it, woulda, coulda, shoulda, you're never going to time it right anyway. If you didn't sell for 1.2, you would have sold for 1.5, make a little more, and still have regrets now that you didn't hold it till 3, 5, or 4. It's the same thing. I was in World of Women. I minted 40 of them. I started selling out of that 0.35. You don't think I'd like to get back in and have all those back? But I sold some of my higher rarity ones. I held, and I didn't sell all at once. I sold those in scale, 0.35, 0.45, 0.7. The next thing you know, the floor is over 1, and I'm thrilled. And I sold several over what the floor is now. And we're talking about getting out in what? Those things minted in July. I probably got out of those in end of August, early September, something like that. And really, The next question would be, if you're able to get out with that profit, can't you move into something else that you might want to hold? Because at the time, I was very close, but didn't pull the trigger when selling 13, 20 ETH worth of World of Women, 11, 13, 15. Three different times I had three different apes that I liked. Blue fur, like not like floor ones. Where I was like, oh, I'll just get an ape now. Why the hell not? And I just never pulled the trigger. So it's you can't look back because it hurts your neck. You can't live in hindsight either. And part of your problem with the whole time in the market, time in, is you're trying to find a way to not have this, let's call it FOMO, but you try to find a way to not have this regret where you're looking back and saying, hey, I made a
Right.
decision and I have to live with it now and I missed out on money. Whereas if you just hold the whole time, there's nothing for you to miss out on, right? You didn't miss out on the money because you
Correct.
stayed in. But my thought is, if you look at those charts, most of these things, they run. If they're successful, they run and they stop running. Whether it's
Is
wolf
it
game.
part,
Shoot.
real quick, after World of Women, was part of your decision-making process not to put money into apes because that was all of your liquidity?
Almost at the time, but there was a time where I could have gotten a nice ape for about a third of what I had got back in World of Women. And it was definitely would not have been and looking back, obviously the apes ran and I said, all right, well, I'll put my third of my liquidity in something else. And it was completely horrible. And what has time in the market done for me in Fatales? You think about it.
Was never like a blue chip
It
project.
minted at the time it minted. It was the fastest 10K sellout of all time, and it sold including the gas. It sold for upwards of like 0.3 in a sellout because of gas wars. It was an art chick led project. It was one of those fancy sellers. It was one of those like right after World of Women. You're like, oh yeah, great. Time in the market has done nothing but allowed me to lose money on that. I can give you a million more. Right? Look at Space Punks Club. I don't even know what the floor is on that. It might be 0.1 now. When they were releasing their dinosaur companions, the floor on that was 0.75 and the dinosaurs were 0.5. So that means it was worth a 1.25 for your combined dino and space punk. And it was just they dropped it, like it wasn't like, gas or whatever it was. You got an airdrop, you got the whole 9 yards. It was just there, it was yours for everyone you owned. 1.25, right? I should have sold there because the thing just went like this, straight down. Straight down. It's like a tenth of the
So,
price now.
so what's our strategy? Fine. Okay. So here we've done well and we've done poorly on some. And it's really like a shotgun approach where only one bullet needs to hit out of like a 10 for us to do
Correct.
really well.
That's right.
But you
And
ride
then
this
the
insane
thought though,
emotional roller coaster.
well, the thought then is though that
And
if
it's
you're able
not,
to go ahead.
I was going to say, and it's not the strategy that we follow in sports cards. In sports cards, we have a much more defined strategy, in my opinion.
Well, sports cards have what I would say a history of the right stuff being blue chips going up over time. There's money, the place you could put money and know what's going to happen with it, even though it's slower growth. You don't have that yet with the NFT space. And I think more importantly, right now with the shotgun approach we talk about, 1 out of 10 has to hit, right? But then you think about it, if you're in that one that hits, sure, you can turn it from a 0.1 to a 1 or a 0.1 to a 0.5 and go 5x on your money. But here's where it gets fun, right? If you keep it in, your other 9 have already failed. You now need this one to go 10x to basically break even. And that's fine.
Right.
You can go 10x on it. You want to hold it until it goes to 2 ETH. But if you sell out at 1 ETH, right? You sell out at 1 ETH on those. You can take the same amount of money and grab another 10 that you have a shot of 1 or 2 of those hitting. You have that money to roll into the next 10. Take your win and find more. Try to find another winner. Try to find 2 more winners. Instead, depending upon how you're using your liquidity, right, you're just saying, all right, I'm just going to drop it in this one. And if 1 of 10 is a winner, I'm going to just ride it out. But I could be wrong. I've been in a lot of projects in the last, 6, 8, 9
Agreed.
months. The vast majority of them, they have this and then this. And every once in a while, a little couple more of these. But generally speaking, it hits a high, goes down, and stays here. I'll send you a chart of
So,
World of
so
Women.
let's talk about some Gage. What have you found are like leading indicators, right? Like, I'll leave it open ended. We'll go back and forth. Like, what have you found are like kind of leading indicators
I
or
think the
indicators
indicators on
of?
what's successful, it changes every friggin' week, it seems, in this space. I'd like to tell you that it was an engaged community and, some utility or rewards for the people. But then you look at the chart of like Lazy Lions, which, we've talked about a bunch of times while we were here. And I'm like, oh, look, the floor's back down to, 0.8, 0.9, 1. And you're like, oh, it's going to go right back to 1.75. And it almost did. This was 3-4 episodes ago. You said it went back to like 1.4 or something. Then it fell again to 0.8, and then there was an announcement of Coinbase and went up to like 1.25. Now it's going to fall again. This is just the way that it seems to be working.
And this is a project that has
That's what
celebrity backing. I think it has Chuck Liddell in it. It has
the most rabid community on Twitter, right? The most rabid community on Twitter, and they do rewards. So it has everything that if you were looking at a project a month or two ago, that's your poster child for a project. You want to keep your money in the market. And yet if you kept your money in the market on that, you're probably breaking even or slightly losing because the price of Ethereum has done okay. You know what I mean? So,
right.
the reason for that is the space changed. The space moved into games, and people were no longer looking for that crazy community with the raw rewards of giving me 0.05 for every lion I hold. Instead, it was find me something to stake and give me tokens. Find me that wolf game, that wizards and dragons. That's something that's going to give me that passive income while I sleep. And you know what's going to happen? There's going to be a bunch of copycats of that. There's going to be 50 of those game things out there, and only 2 or 3 are actually going to wind up being profitable. The rest of them are going to wind up taking away a lot of people's money. And in January, February, there'll be something else that is the blueprint for a successful project. That something else will be what? Who the friggin' knows? Photography. Who knows what it's going to be? But you can't because.
You think photography is going to catch on?
I think.
Did you see OpenSea said they might add that category to their drop down?
I think it's a cool space. I think photography NFT is a cool space for 2022. It's just something that hasn't been exploited yet, I don't think. But the point is, it's also new. We talk about blue chips. These things are all, Bored Ape is a blue chip. It's not even a year old. Who knows what's going to happen with it?
I get a ton of questions now, Cage, from sports card collectors too. Like, what are you looking for in projects? Which projects are you evaluating? I got to give credit to a project that, we want these instant results, and we're kind of programmed to have it. If it doesn't happen in 24 hours, the best project that I've seen, is Gambling Apes, and I got put onto a project by my buddy Timmy, who said like, yeah, this is a project I followed for a very long time. I did a ton of research, and this one stuck out above the pack. It took a little while for them to roll out their roadmap, but they actually have real life utility, Cage. So tell me if this is compelling to you. So first thing is that it's run by professional sports bettors, and they have like their plays and their analysis picks. So very, very easy. 2, they have weekly like kind of poker tournaments, okay, where your buy-in is your NFT and you could win prizes. Kind of cool. And then third, they're opening up a casino in Decentraland where the people that own the NFT hold get kind of dividends or get paid out, so to speak, on the profits of the casino.
Who's gambling in there? Only ape holders?
I don't know.
What are they using to gamble? So yes, it sounds great for the NFT space if we are in the metaverse right now and you're putting on your Oculus and that's the way to gamble. But I would tell you most humans would turn around and say that sounds fantastic, but I can also
gambling, man?
I can also gamble on my gambling app. I can also play poker anytime I want with anybody I want. So yeah, it sounds great for utility for an NFT as opposed to other NFTs that don't have any utility. But it doesn't sound like anything spectacular to me. It sounds like, it sounds like Domino's, but I got 9 pizzerias near me. Why would I eat your cardboard? That's kind of what it sounds like to me. But as far as the NFT comparison, it sounds fantastic. It sounds like there's a dividend sharing. It sounds like they're trying something new. And going from there.
Are you with us? Are you with us, Shadowy?
Yeah, having a little technical difficulties. I'm here now. What did I miss?
No way.
You missed a
No
whole bunch of
way.
this.
Beautiful. Glad I missed it. Wow, that's a one. You were upside down for a second. Your hair stayed perfectly the same.
Even inverted.
I don't know how that works.
I believe it's a Star Wars character that you look exactly like right now. I want to try
Me?
to find a picture of it. Yeah.
All right.
It's like an ancillary character. He's always at like the controls.
Hmm.
You know.
Must be good looking though.
No, it's the headphones. The headphones are doing.
Oh shoot. Just one of the
So,
peons.
Cage, we were invested in this project. It's called World Web with 2 B's. Remember this one?
World Wide Web.
And this was World Wide Web. This is an interesting thing that I didn't think would move floor prices, but it did. So there's a great quote, you know, follow developers, follow where the coders go, right? Like wherever the best coders are going to the blockchain. Why Ethereum is such a big deal is because they have the best developers, so to say. So the day this happened, the price went ballistic, and this is even after Web released more supply. So let me read your announcement. We are thrilled to announce Masita has joined World Wide Web as CTO. Juan is not only an incredible technical programmer, but a god-tier game developer in our community, recognized in 2008 Forbes 30 Under 30 Enterprise Technology. Juan has co-founded multiple startups and brings a wealth of experience to the project. So for me as an investor, when I saw that, so Web is that, Cage, can you give people the rundown of what Web is?
Yeah, I mean, this project was apartments actually within their metaverse, within their universe, and you can host in your apartment. You know, they're building out a space. It's just funny that these are the two that you pick on. First of all, you're a degenerate gambler. Second of all, you're a degenerate gambler. Third of all, not all of these can win, right? Because the point that this universe is built, the gamification, they have an arcade. You know, they'll have a casino. They'll let people build in there, and if you build a world with businesses and storefronts, well, then I guess you should have apartments. And it's the people who own that apartments, that's their Genesis land that will ultimately, you know, you'll be living, be able to host people. People can stay there, whatever, while they're using what else is going on in their, you know, in their metaverse, in the World Wide Web. There's already a game going on, already a game being played. Remember, we were in the Discord and people love the game. The game is like 8-bit, like Atari style, which I guess is the way it's supposed to be nowadays. People like the worse it looks, the more it looks like it was made by a 3-year-old, the more the floor price.
Brove played with the game for a Shadowy played with the game for a second.
That's true. I played that little game.
Yeah,
I realized it was outdated.
Well, I mean, what was cool about it was how light it was, right? You could play it in your browser instead of having some, you know, an Oculus or an add-on or anything like that, which is different. But the point is, everybody's selling the same thing, which is, hey, at some point in time, everyone's going to be in our metaverse, and they're going to want to gamble. So why don't you buy an apartment right next to the casino? Okay. I mean, you know, sometimes you have to.
You got to call. Sometimes you got to remember.
We're early.
How early? What inning would you say we're in?
You know, people are like, we're early. You ever hear people out, we're early, right? You've heard that, right?
Probably
like,
nothing.
Like the same wag me folks. They're like, we're early, right? You've heard people say this?
Yeah, we are.
Can you hear me, guys? Because I can't hear you.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we're early.
Yeah, we're early. Sometimes you have to take a step back and be like, maybe we're too early. Just how early are we? When are these metaverse casinos going to actually be working? When are these metaverse casinos going to actually be doing anything? And why does everybody want one?
Because somebody else wants one.
That's true. We're early because we might be too early because we don't know how any of this stuff works. Like how we don't even know. I don't even know if it's valuable to live next to a casino. Because do I have to literally walk there? Does it take time to get to the casino, or can I just instantly teleport across worlds? So like, what's the use? I don't know. We don't know yet.
Shadowy, can I pick your brain for a little bit? So you've probably done 20 hours of phone calls with Gene, talking about a whole bunch of stuff. So if you could sum up, like, what are Gene's principles, right? This is a guy who's an engineer by trade, and he's new into the NFT space. What are his principles? What does this guy look for? What does he talk about? What are those conversations? If you give us a little bit of a deep dive.
All his plays are long holds. He doesn't talk much
Name
about.
some.
He doesn't ever talk about flipping. What'd you say, Cage?
Name some. What are some of the long holds?
So he's into games. There's been saying this a few times. There's so many different facets of this world that are going to exist that it's hard to study. It's hard to get good. It's hard to get familiar with all of them. So you can pick one, and he's picked games, and that's where he's going to focus on. So Illuvium and Ember Sword are two of the ones. There was like Phantom Galaxies is another one he was mentioning. Huxley is a new one that just announced that they're going to have a game as well. So that's the kind of
comics are failing.
no, that happened before. Wait, why are they failing? That happened. The announcement came out before the mint ended, and then the mint went like boom right after the announcement.
I mean, that seems to also be part of the space. Like, hey, I announced one thing and it's not working, so let me just pivot.
So try again.
I'm gonna have a game. The game will come 6 months from now. I gotta tell you, I'm in a thing called Belieververse, Citizen of the Believers, Bulliverse. I don't know how the hell you say it. Bulliverse. So it's like a metaverse for bulls.
Just say
Let me tell you,
it.
they did the
Just
same
say it
thing, right?
anyway.
They said you can say however you want. You guys can say it. It's bullshit, is what it is. But whatever. I'm an owner of it. So, but they were giving out bull tokens for the first 100 days after mint, because you figure 100 days they've been talking about this game that's gonna come. You're gonna play a game. You're gonna get a bear for every bull. As you're gonna go on play a game and you're gonna hunt the bear to companion with your bull, and they have all these cool videos like a gun, and it doesn't look anything like the crappy 2-bit videos. It's like 3D, awesome game, looks like Fortnite, like legit looks like Fortnite. But they just keep pushing everything back. And this is a project that sold out, made 7 figures, has a development team of like 25 people. And you go on the Discord and you say, hey, you're pushing things back again? Hey, what about a white paper? Hey, what's going on with these tokens? Hey, I have 500,000 of them. Hey, what's going on with the game? And it's like, be patient. Patient? That's why you had 100-day time for vesting these tokens.
100 days is not that long. Cage, 100 days is not that long. But I want to hear about, I can't say the names again.
The point is, if you announce a game, how long is it going to take? So Huxley is a comic book that says, hey, I'm going to have a game. When's the Huxley game come out?
Yeah, no idea.
That's another
but
problem
100
have with the games and the spaces and the casinos and all this stuff. Everybody's gonna do this. Everybody's gonna do that. Well, take a step back. These are all projects that are gonna do stuff after selling out at 0.04 or 0.06 and legit took in 7 figures. Plus, they're doing all of this fun secondary stuff where they're getting a piece of it also. Well,
the incentive. Yeah.
Do it. How many games are actually out there?
When are you going to do it? It's interesting how once a project sells out, the owners, like, they've made all their money. Their incentives are removed from then on. Like, they have no incentive. They don't really have an incentive to build this game because they already collected their millions of dollars. So it's really hard to figure out who you can trust to continue working on the project, working on the brand and all of that stuff, growing it for you so that your NFT grows as well. And that's why we started shifting into like celebrity owned or like public personality owned NFTs. It's because, well, they still have a brand that they still need to, advertise and grow as well. So that was the only insurance that we had that they would continue.
Exactly. Right. Because you figure their brand is worth more than the couple of $1 million they would get from, minting out an NFT project. 100%. I get that rationale. I get that reasoning 100%.
Yep. So
back to
with you brought up Huxley. Huxley is one of the things Gene would look at is like, who are the founders and what have they done before?
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
That didn't come up in our conversation, but maybe you talk about that with your friends.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? That is Kindergarten Cop, Shadowy. That is Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop.
I'm gonna have to study more movies just so that I can contribute to this podcast like you do.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Don't go down that rabbit hole. Cage has that covered. He's got the movie.
Emma, take your toy back to the carpet. All right, go ahead. Continue.
Okay, so who are the founders and what do they do?
So yeah, exactly. So in the case of Huxley, because you brought it up, Ben Morrow was the guy. We've talked about this for a few episodes now because it's one of the most promising ones he's looking at. Yes, they announced the game. Yes, it will take longer than anyone expects, of course. Patience in the NFT world is not a muscle we've flexed so much because it's just so new. Like, we're not used to waiting. We're not used to playing long games. But the game will be here, and we believe that because of all of Ben Morrow's like previous experience. He's worked on Halo. He's worked on big blockbuster movies, Call of Duty, and things like that. So he has a track record proven of being able to do these things. So we trust him. It's not guaranteed, but we trust him that there's going to be a game coming through.
In Ben
These
Morrow,
other
we trust.
projects, who knows?
Yeah.
What's that?
I said in Ben Morrow, we trust.
We trust. Yeah, exactly.
No, but Cage. I mean, if the guy's worked on Call of Duty and Halo, I think that's a pretty respectable resume to go into the NFT world and create games into it.
Definitely to make a game, 100%.
He's qualified. He's qualified, and it's his passion. Like he's been doing it all his life. So even if he doesn't make any more money from it, it's just what he loves to do, and he's just going to continue making it and creating it. And this one is his passion.
Engineer friends say about games. What is the most successful game in the space so far?
I don't know what the most successful one is. He's looking for investment opportunities. So if it's already been made, we don't talk about it so much. Because he's looking to get in as early as possible to the new games that are coming out.
Any concern on his
Crypto
part that
Kitties, probably Cage, right?
we might have missed out the game run already? Because the game run is like here, and people are just, it's wizards and
What
dragons
game?
and you name it. Axie Infinity was the
It's-
huge game. Remember, we had on the Go to the Metaverse in, and he told us about his
Yeah.
money-making thing because you could hire somebody in the Philippines. Well, I don't think you can do that anymore. I think that Axie is now
Now you have to hire them in America.
it's paying so little that even the people in the Philippines don't
Yeah.
play it for you anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not wrong, Shadowy, right? You read the same.
I don't think
articles,
so.
right? Even
I don't
Axie,
think that.
which was the
I don't think the
whole-
games
that
are
was
at
the one
scale yet.
Everybody
Yeah.
held up. No, not scale. But just it's funny, man. The people who seem to make the money in the crypto space jump into something early before it ever really happens, and everybody else is then a month or two behind. And I say, well, come on, these people got into the games. Last week it was utility. Last month it was utility and rewards and WoW Fund and Roar Rewards, and now it's games. And in January we're all going to jump into games, and the games are all going to crash because the people who were in games last month are now into something else.
That's so true. And maybe the next thing is music. Maybe because we did a whole on-chain thing as well too. Maybe there's going to be a generative art thing. Maybe the next one's going to be music. You can invest in like Snoop Dogg and Trey Songz and a bunch of those things. So you're right. You don't know
Only
what the
one
next thing is.
constant
Gonna
in
be.
the NFT space.
Snoop Dogg and Trey Songz.
Bro, if you're the man.
Trey Songz. Well, so here's the only content I see so far in the NFT space. Celebrities come in, they join a group, they join another group, they get some NFTs, and you can start the 30-day countdown before they make their own. Cheech and Chong are next.
Nice. Or athletes. Who knows what it's going to be. But, yeah.
Ainsley Milanakis. I remember he came into the Space Club, and he came into a bunch of stuff, and now he's got like goat soup.
Yeah. I don't think games are played out though. I don't think games have run their course yet.
Me neither.
They're going to be a slow play in the background for a long
January.
time.
January they'll be done.
Really soon then.
Yeah.
No.
But that's the space. The space is a year
But-
old.
Games like the actual Call of Duty, games like FIFA, like they have so much of a massive following worldwide. I don't see why they won't hit the blockchain. Because lots of these games, what's interesting about blockchain games is that people use the example of Fortnite where you buy your skin, but your skin is never resellable. That money is just sunk. Like whatever money you use to buy things, advancements or whatever inside your games, that money is just gone. You paid it to the company, you paid it to Univision, you're done. They took their cut. But if you do it on the blockchain, you can resell your skins later. So it's not so much of a sunk cost.
But why is that good for FIFA? Why is that good for those companies?
It's not, but we don't care about those companies. We care about the on-chain developers who are going to make these games.
But you said
I'm with
FIFA and
I'm with
those
Shadowy
games
here,
are gonna-
Cage. I'm with
So
Shadowy.
you
I
could
think
go,
I think that's
how can those,
it's gonna
but the premise
it's
he
gonna
had
flip.
was those guys are gonna come to the blockchain. Why would they come to the blockchain? If you're telling me somebody else is gonna create that type of game on the blockchain, maybe. But those
Definitely.
games are not gonna come out there. And so what that means is the blockchain games are already so far behind the FIFAs and the Fortnites and the actual games that are already out there with people spending their money. So why the hell would Fortnite? Why would they come onto the blockchain?
I don't give a hoot about
Let's-
Fortnite or FIFA or any of those. Someone will create its own companion game. Someone who's not Fortnite. They'll create their own. Like Ben Huxley is now about to create a blockchain game. He came from the real regular video gaming world, and now
And the difference there is what?
he's about
Now,
to be on
he has
blockchain.
to
Like
be-
he's great over and just be interested in the space.
he has to now compete with Fortnite.
Well,
Can I don't want to talk over each other because there is a little bit of a delay. Can I go? Okay. So I agree with you. Right now, he has to compete with Fortnite, and I think that they are behind. But I think the power of community is going to allow them to catch up much faster than before. Yes, these huge market players have a ton of market share, but I think what we're seeing is the shift from companies to the shift to communities. And I think we are going to see some winners in the community-driven games where a DAO owns a game. I'm not saying in the next year. Cage, here's the thing. Shadow, just real quick, answer me this question. How long did it take you to get a sabbatical from the day you wanted to do it to the day you left?
Oh, yeah. Like a year and almost a half. Yeah, a year and a half.
Okay. It takes him a year and a half to just take a sabbatical. There's people like us, Cage, that think in like 2-day terms and we're like this all the time. There's also people like Shadowy who are very long-term thinkers who really build a quality product. It's going to be both. And I think those,
Not in this space.
Yes, 100%.
Because the space is so young.
Well, yet, but they're coming. You just haven't seen the rewards. The seeds are
That's
planted,
the hope.
but the reward.
But that is betting on hope.
That's betting on the horse. That's betting on the jockey, not the horse.
It's hopium. Because how do you know the ones that are building on what chain? Right? He's building on-chain games. How do we know that gas doesn't kill? You literally came in here last episode, and said Ethereum was gonna die because of gas and because they can't do it.
I change my mind all the time. Stop throwing it in my face.
But you're allowed to change your mind. But that's why you have the mindset of day to day. And you know what you also have on your side that nobody else does is that you have a year worth of watching this market, and everyone is fickle. Even a project that has everything going for it, the community that people talk about, they turn on each other faster than anything I've ever seen in my life, unless it's apes. And even apes, I was in that Discord after the mutant stuff dropped, and their floor went from 60 to 24 or 29, and people were like, "What are you doing, selling? What's wrong with you?" They were talking about the floor price even in the Bored Apes. So the point that I'm trying to make is this is all well and good. The community. We've seen it. Mint happens. 2 days later, the thing didn't triple, and all of a sudden, people are chasing each other to get out the door. That's what this space is. Because even your games, there are people in that who have never played the game. I made money on World Wide Web apartments. I don't want an apartment. I don't want to play a game. I'm never going to play a game. But if the price goes down, I'm getting out.
So can I jump in, and then I want to hear Shadowy's takes? Yeah. So I think every project needs to have 3 different types of holders. Okay? So let's use Flower Girls for the example. The mint was 0.05. People were selling at like 0.12. Tons of people, right? Before the reveal, before anything, they were just making their 0.03 ETH and flipping. Those are flippers. I compare them to like the people that used to go to Walmart or Target, buy cards off the shelves and sell them online. Flippers. They're really important. They pour liquidity in. Cool. So that's one. Second thing that you need is collectors. I think what's good about artists or gamers like or game makers like Ben Maurer, they incentivize holders, right? They have experience. Gary does this really well. He comes into a project and he's like, this project's going to be huge in 2 to 10 years. What is he really saying? He's saying, hey, this is a safe project to hold long term. So you need collectors. So you need flippers, collectors. And then I think you need guys like us, Cage, who are investors, who are the short to middle term hold. We're never going to hold a project for more than a few months, but we're also okay with holding it for a little while longer than those flippers. And I think if a project has those 3, I think they all complement each other. And I think there's space for everyone in that. Please shout.
What about whales? Do you need whales too? Like a lot of the projects we buy into, we first go and check the token list and see if someone holds, at least 10% of them or whatever. Not at least 10%, but
I think a whale provides peace of mind and security for collectors and holders. Because if a whale's into this project, I feel more likely maybe as a collector to hold it as well.
Because what you want, right? I know that movie. Wait, Nemo, Finding Nemo. That's Dora, or what's her name?
Nemo. Yeah,
Dory.
Good job, Shadowy. He's got it.
Cage is the whale. Cage is the whale in our projects and fatalities.
Thank you. He's always
This
calling
is
me
true.
fat. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. Making me sing about chicken parm. He's making me look silly. He's calling me a whale. It's no fun.
Different audiences. They haven't seen that clip. Follow us on Luka Tiger LeBron podcast. Shadowy. So what else does Gene say? Help our audience make a few shekels here and there.
Well, it's mostly games we talk about. But yeah, games are going to be the next big thing. That's what he thinks. So that's what he's starting to study on. Alluvium and Ember Sword are two things you can check out. I think it's Ember Sword that doesn't have a coin yet, but they have NFT badges that you can go buy if you want to buy into that coin side of the game.
How do you
Have
spell
you looked
that?
at Averick Saga?
No, tell me about that.
Take a look. It's cool art. Different tribes, different
Art.
types of characters, wizards and archers and cool stuff. And better art than most of these other games. Averick. Avarik. Take a look. I see it in the Genie Sweep every now and again.
Averick Saga Universe.
See? Pretty cool, right?
I was watching Troy today. What an interesting premise. The guy stole this other guy's wife, so these two nations went to war.
Helen of Troy. You've never heard the
She's
story?
kind of like,
Hector.
imagine playing that role in the movie. She must feel like really a home wrecker, like a country wrecker.
All's fair in love and war.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that recently. All's fair in love and war. I understand in war, but I don't understand in love. Like, what does that mean?
Not all's fair in NFTs.
All's fair in love and war. Who said that?
Listen, if I
Sounds
would
like
tell you
Marcus
something,
said
my take on this, the community stuff, the games might be interesting, right? Because it could be every man for himself. It could be every woman for himself. It could be everybody for themselves playing a game and trying to build up high scores and collect whatever it is in the game. The games could work. You don't need the community because, the game is what holds that together. We've seen almost every community already turn on each other. I mean, even CryptoPunks.
Can we talk about that? I have a theory, Cage. So there's this project called the AKC, Ape Kids Club. And it started by two ape holders, right? They put it in the Twitter bio, ape holder like 8160, I don't know if that's true, and ape holder 2343 have created this project, okay? What's going to happen when one of those projects is a pump and dump and it makes the rest of the community look terrible? Does that make sense? Did I explain that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a stretch to say that the ape community be blamed for two of its members going out and doing it, but listen, here's the thing, man. When Gary Vee says 99% of these things are going to fail, that's not just him, being a negative Nelly. I think that's true. And if you listen to our episode, you'd be wise to think it's true also. Listen to the ridiculous things we're talking about. And yet, the light bulb was thought of as ridiculous too, as was a round earth. Some of these things are ridiculous. Most of them will fail, but some will succeed. And if you happen to be in the one that succeeds, you happen to be in the Google, you'll be fine. But these games, these casinos, these PFPs, these animal heads for Twitter, the vast majority of these things are going to go down, which is why I don't love the time in the market versus timing the market that we talked about, just to get back to the beginning.
That's cool. I missed that part of the conversation, I think, but that's a sweet opposite from traditional stock market investing, right? Maybe you talked about this already, but if you're traditionally investing in stock market, they say time in the market is most important because you're not going to time it.
Shadowy, what I said to Andrew was, I said, tell me any project, not Bored Apes and CryptoPunks, although you could even use them if you want, any project that's more than 2 months old, that's currently high.
Yeah.
What's at its high right now?
The whole space is 1 year old.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
I think
the 1 month.
we're still so early.
What's 1 month? Yeah, we might be too early. We might be the guy who invented the tablet in the 90s for Samsung, and nobody was ready for it until the Kindle came out.
Yeah.
And that was brought into the iPad.
Or the Palm Pilot.
Palm Pilot. Good job. You guys think alike. Andrew said the Palm Pilot too when we brought this up in our other episode.
Yeah. I used to have one of those. It was great.
So
And then I don't know where it went.
the thought is it's great, and eventually it's there, and eventually the iPad is there, and it's great, and it makes trillions of dollars. But sometimes that idea comes out 10 years too early, and the people who came up with it.
So we're not too early to be in NFTs, but we are too early to hold NFTs, is what you're talking about. Because there's still lots of money to be made if you're holding it, like you said, timing in the market, not time in the market. So you can still make money if you time it right.
So
So we're not too early to make
use
money.
the card analogy for any of our folks who are coming over from the card world, I think the vast majority of these NFTs are like buying base cards. They're prospecting. And
Yeah.
in the beginning, you could do well on a Bowl. Hell, you could even do well on a Zion. And Zion seemed to be that apartment or that game or that wolf game or whatever the heck it was.
Zion's as big as an apartment.
Well, so I mean, it was one of those that could run. Maybe it was a chain runner, or maybe it was a crypto bull society. Who knows? I mean, it looked really good, but ultimately, are any of these base cards going to be worth anything in the long run?
Shadowy.
Yeah.
You've had a week to think about it. You've cleansed your system. You went to NYC. What's your next move in NFTs, right? What are you are you selling? Are you cutting your losses? What's
Here comes some alpha.
What are you
folks.
thinking?
I'm muting. I want to let.
I don't know if it's alpha. So my problem in the beginning was I bought and held for far too long. So my wallet is littered with garbage that I don't want to own anymore. So right now I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of all that,
Feed it
recoup a
to the
little bit of the
raccoons.
ETH.
Raccoons eat garbage.
I wish.
Garbage to the raccoons.
I'm gonna get like 0.01 for like a lot of the things I've bought.
By the way,
I'm
Shadow,
just-
you talk about a great business idea. If you came up with something right now that was a way to just trash people's
I
NFTs
agree.
for $1 a piece, it would make $1 million. It would make more than $1 million, but it would do very, very well.
Here's what I think. I don't know if this can exist or not, but you know how NFTs cost money to save on chain. It costs money to store this information online. Well, if you just burn the NFT, then you take the data offline, you should get some of the money back, like a redemption fee. What I think is if you delete an NFT, you should get a little bit of money back. I don't think it should even cost you anything.
Those are the ones that
I don't know how that
aren't
works,
on
but
chain.
hopefully one day.
Right. Not well, the ones that aren't on chain.
True. They have a little bit of stuff. They have like a little metadata link that shoots it out to find it to the URL. But you're right. Yeah. I still think somehow we should be able to get money back for deleting, burning, saving memory for the blockchain. That's what I think.
So your strategy to become your strategy in NFT is to burn your NFTs and figure out how to get money for that.
I'm recovering from my learnings. From my learnings.
Two episodes in.
Forget picking winners. I'm gonna burn my cards and I'm gonna call Panini and ask for my money back.
No. You're asking top loaders. You're asking Ulti Pro. Hey, I don't need to use your plastic anymore.
Exactly. You buy it back from me.
You're recuperating. You're licking your wounds.
I'm licking my wounds. I'm trying to reset my wallet back to zero, back to just the things that I want to hold. Because my mistake in the beginning was to buy and hold for far too long. So I watched all my projects go to nearly to zero. That's
You
my
can
next
reset
step.
your wallet. Just create a new wallet and give me your private key.
Just
You
send
reset it to
everything.
zero. Problem solved.
Thank you, Andrew.
Can I throw something out there before we get too far off the rails, and then I'll let everybody go, guys? Just a 2-minute public service announcement. Be careful, right? Especially if you're new to this stuff. Be careful
Of the shadowy
in
coder.
Discord. There is no shortage of scammers out there. There's no shortage of people who are looking to take advantage of new people, and they get better and better at this every single day. I saw somebody come in to the Flower Girl Discord and say, hey, where are the 5 NFTs I just minted? And, one of the mods is like, well, what do you mean you just minted? Mint was days ago. You couldn't have minted right now. And the guy's like, well, I minted based on the DM that you guys just sent me to mint your project. And this is a new person. And they're like, well, what do you mean? We don't send DMs. And he's like, yeah, but I got a DM from you. And he sent a picture. It looks just like it. And somebody took the avatar. And obviously it was like, Flower Girl NFTs instead of NFT. Like, they make it look, dude, don't kill the people here.
Don't click on links.
This has happened to me also. I was in a Discord, something popped up. I thought it was staying in the Discord. I wound up in the DMs. It was one of my first times, using Discord, and you're trying to figure around it. People are new to this stuff. That's why we're here. You can provide value in a bunch of ways. Shadowy can tell people to go buy every game under the sun. even though 99% of them are going to fail. You can tell people that the only way to make money in NFTs is by being a degenerate and invest in projects that allow gambling and have casinos. I plan today to just tell people to be careful, because I saw it today, right? Be careful in Discord. Don't click links, right? Don't assume that something is coming from who they purport it to be. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even respond to a DM from anyone. You can send the DMs, you know what I mean? Stay in the actual channel, watch those announcements in the channels you're in, because a lot of times when people fall victim to this, the team will make an announcement, hey, this is a scam that's going around. It happened in VFriends recently. It happened at Bored Apes. You'll get somebody on Twitter every day almost, hey, my thing was hacked. It was late night, I was drunk, whatever the heck the story is. Just be careful with your stuff, because this really is a no backseas world.
That's fair. That's a lot of good points. Do not click on links and DMs. Is that where we're wrapping? Any final thoughts from anyone? Cage says, watch out for scammers.
There's a million ways they can scam you. Discord, but they can even scam you through OpenSea, just clicking on the wrong project. So do all your due diligence. Make sure it looks like it was like a real full project. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, how about this, guys? NFTs, there are art projects out there, and if you have some success in NFTs or you like NFTs and you're not into the gaming, you're in art. I've never been an art collector, but there are some NFTs that I like the art of. It might not be for everyone. Andrew said it looked like the old Windows screensaver. I won't even name it because I'm not trying to pump it up, but it was cheap and it was 3D and it was like moving in shapes and stuff, and I like it. And I don't know what the floor is on it right now because I don't care, because I'm banking that maybe these guys are right. And maybe one day I will have an apartment somewhere next to a casino and be able to play games where I collect bananas for my grumpkin.
Or display your art. You could have an art gallery next to the casino
and I'll
too.
have to be able to display the art, or I'll have it up there, or what. I have no idea, but I'm picking up things that I happen to like, and that's one of the fun ways of doing this, right? I'm not telling you to spend a ton of money on this, right? But I don't want to come on here and make it sound like we're only on here to get in a project, sell it 3, 4, 5 days later for more money, because I don't think what NFTs are supposed to be about, right? I mean, that's obviously a part of it. There are people who come in and are looking at it to flip. But if that's all it is, when things are just about a flip, they don't last. There has to be other aspects to it. Just flipping just to flip, people will eventually find something else to flip, whether it's mug life, sneakers, cards, whatever else is going to be.
Well, we come on here to evaluate our strategies, right? Live on the air, because we don't know. I mean, there's been projects I've held like Qubits, and they never resurrected, and I was like, should I have sold that right after Breathwork before we jumped into Sendote? I remember that day all too well. I felt like a genius and then an idiot almost back to back.
Flip-flop.
That is the coolest thing, right? One of those things about the NFTs, you can feel like a genius and an idiot in a 2-hour span.
Yeah.
I don't like
You
it.
didn't do
It doesn't feel
different.
good.
He's like,
No,
like
I don't. I felt that the last week. I'm like, am I a genius or I'm just. All right. I'm tired. Peace.